Joining us now to talk more about it, China analyst and author of the book Plan Red, Gordon Chang. And with us on set throughout the day, journalist Melissa Francis, plus former Republican Congresswoman from the state of New York, Nan Hayworth. Good to see all three of you today. Gordon, I'll start with you. This China deal, the biggest one of them all, clearly. How are you looking into this? What are you seeing, especially with these demands that the United States is asking for?
Well, our demands really are quite ambitious. I mean, we want China to open its market. This is something that foreigners have been begging China to do since the 1700s. I'm not sure that we're going to be successful about that, but there are other achievable goals. Now, in general, with regard to the pause, normally pauses benefit China because it gives China more time to steal our intellectual property and to engage in predatory trade practices. This time, however, I think that the pause it benefits the U.S. more. And the reason is, as this pause continues, the U.S. is stitching up more trade deals that are redirecting trade away from China toward the United States, especially that deal announced on Sunday by the president with the EU, which was historic, a deal which was so one-sided toward the United States that people in Europe are complaining bitterly. But Europe had to make that deal to keep the U.S. on side. And this $750 billion of U.S. Energy purchases, that's really going to benefit us as the Europeans are weaned off of Russian gas.
Melissa, what do you make of the pending China trade deal? More broadly, what would that symbolize?
Well, I think everything that Gordon said is absolutely right, and he has been sounding the alarm on China forever, and he was absolutely right about all of it. I actually am not optimistic about the U.S. making a deal with China. I'm not sure the president really wants to. I mean, he would make a deal that's incredibly advantageous for the U.S., but I don't think that's something China would do. I do think that this time around, he's the one who's kind of stalling. And we are seeing the U.S. make better deals elsewhere around the world and kind of succeed in isolating China a little bit more and turning the tables where they were really in the global driver's seat of trade. And he's beginning to turn that around. It's a long road.
Nan, the August 1st deadline is just a couple of days away for the countries around the world beyond China. They have their own deadline. What do you think is going to happen here?
Well, I think the administration will adhere to the August 1st deadline for these other countries, and it will obviously behoove them since, we know that, as Melissa's pointed out, these deals are coming fast and furious. You don't want to be left out, and the United States position keeps getting stronger and stronger. This is a president who is unafraid to leverage U.S. power. And as we get economically stronger, this deal with the EU is amazing. We become a more formidable adversary, if you will, economically, or counter to China. And that, I think, will be an inducement to them.
Gordon, I want to get your thoughts on this. The Trump administration has announced it would block the president of Taiwan from stopping over in New York as he was set to go on a trip to Central America. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, this is not good. I mean, because American presidents have always let Taiwan presidents transit through the United States. And presumably President Trump is doing this because he doesn't want to anger the Chinese. The problem is it looks like he's placating Beijing, and that never works. We've tried this for 3.5 decades of trying to please China. It always makes the Chinese more aggressive, more belligerent, and demanding more. And I think that at some point, we have got to just stand up for our principles and let the Chinese come to us. I know that it's going to be difficult, but on the other hand, we have been adopting a policy approach which has failed for decades, and we've got to try something new.
Melissa, I feel like this is setting up the United States, all these deals for dominance, once again, manufacturing around the world. We're getting unfettered, fair access to all these markets. Who knows what's going to happen with China right here? But that's what we're doing. We're not only, the rest of the world is being opened up to the United States. I think that's a pretty big deal.
No, it is absolutely, because it had gotten to the point where a lot of businesses really did not want to operate in China, and they were doing it because their counterparts were, their competitors were, and they had to keep the price point where it was. But you often heard CEOs complaining for years, either on the record or off the record, about the terrible deals they were forced to take and their intellectual property being stolen. They wanted the right excuse to get out, but they basically needed their competition to get out as well. And President Trump has really made that happen, and he's given them huge incentives to bring that business back home. We know it's hard to change. So when he lures them back home, they're likely going to stay for a good time.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Congressman Nan Hayworth, Melissa Gordon, thank you.